Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Day nothing.
Yeah, that's right. Judy and Nikki are back, and we thought we would just do a little bit of an update on how we're both going post TA. How we're coping with our life now that we're not on the trail every day. So, Judy, you can kick off.
Well, you can see we're actually out training together,
Yes.
which is great.
Yes.
So we're in Brisbane. We're actually partway around Araroa Reservoir at the moment. We've come from Brookfield, and this is our own old training tracks that we did for the TA.
Yeah, but we
So
have the
it's
heavy
nice,
packs on, of course.
Nice
Yeah.
to be back out. Yes, we've got our trail running
Yes,
boots on.
it's very nice.
So, but it has been nice. We've been out training again on a few Thursdays.
Yep.
Nikki's-
Making it a weekly thing.
Nikki had mentioned previously in an update that she's registered to do something called the Guzzler.
Yeah.
So this is part of the Guzzler tracks as well.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing today. It's the difficult part of the Guzzler.
Yes, we are. We're doing some wonderful track called Hellhole.
Yeah.
So we're back on the hills. It
Yeah.
feels good. We both said the same thing, that coming back, you go out for a bit of a hike, but it's almost like this energy that you're not getting out of the system.
Yeah, you feel like you're doing nothing, and you've got all this energy and you want to feel like you go on forever. I mean, I actually thought maybe I should just go for a walk and just walk all day. But then I thought, oh, that's ridiculous.
But we'll be walking most of today.
Yeah, we will
I
be.
think we're doing about 28 kilometres.
Yes.
And
it's
mainly
steep.
hills. So it was our training tracks that we had used for TA.
Yeah.
Except then we did have, Nikki mentioned, the full weighted pack.
Yeah.
But Nikki needs to get ready for the Guzzler. It's not that far away now.
I know, it's only 6 weeks, and I've had a few kind of interruptions because I'm also trying to train with my husband doing the bike packing trip. So I've been spending time on the bike, and I guess the cross training won't hurt, but I haven't done as much running as I should.
And we will run a bit later. We ran a bit last
Judy's
week.
thinking she's never going to finish.
So we'll run a bit later on.
Yes.
Today we've got a lot of hills coming up, so you can't really run them anyway.
No.
They're either steep up or steep down.
Yep.
I'm not going to do the Guzzler this year. I'd already mentioned that previously. And it's largely because I've still got a few twinges in my ligaments. So ankle's doing a lot better, but there's a few twinges here and there, and I don't want to go over and again.
No.
And this is the sort of track, what we're on looks pretty pedestrian at the moment. That's what we're filming right now though, but a lot of it is pretty rough.
I'll film Hellhole though, so you can see where we're training.
So yeah, not ready to do an event, but it is nice to get out and do some longer sessions together. So
and that's what I was saying to Judy, that even if we don't run much of it, the fact that I'm just out for longer periods of time, going up and down hills, it's all good training for the Guzzler. And look, worst case scenario, if I can't run any of it, I'll just have to walk all of it. I've just got to do it within a certain time though.
Walk quick.
Walk quickly, yes. So.
And there are some sections, as I said, when we head back towards our car today at Brookfield, there's a section along there that's quite moderate with some ups and downs that we can
maybe
run
have a little
along.
bit of a jog. Yeah.
Look, I've been also doing some walking each week with a lovely group called the Daisy Hill Walkers, which is where I live.
It sounds so romantic.
So right on my doorstep, I can roll out of bed.
Yeah.
And once a morning meet them at one of the car parks in the Daisy
Once a
Hill
week,
Forest.
yeah.
And really, really lovely group. Some of them actually were watching the YouTube on the New Zealand on the TA, which was really, really lovely. But that's been a great group to connect with. Because I'm retired, I can now go and do that.
Yes, you're
Instead
retired.
of
It's
being
lovely.
working, I'm out walking. So that's been nice as well. And they also do some full day hikes, and in fact at the moment quite a few of them are away on a multi-day hike. So it's been a really lovely group to connect with and walk with. They walk on a Wednesday morning.
Yes.
So anyone in the Daisy Hill area,
Yes.
there's a walking group there.
Yeah. And also, because you did say that next year, all being well, Judy will probably train for the Guzzler for next year, so we can train for that together.
Yeah.
I bet you I'll be doing a lot more running then.
Yes.
Oh dear. Oh well, we'll
Just
see
to
how
keep
it goes.
in touch with fitness levels.
Yes,
Don't want to let it slide. So
No.
just want to keep the fitness.
And
fitness up.
I know what that leads into, the weight loss, because we both lost a lot of weight, and Judy lost 11 kilos and I lost 17. And the challenge now is to try and keep as much of that weight loss off. And I have actually put on another 3 kilos, maybe 3.5. And I'm just trying to now work out how you maintain weight loss, because I haven't for a long time. I haven't maintained weight loss. I've either just been putting it on or losing it.
So keeping it in that. So
keeping it in that.
I've popped a couple of kilos back on. But having said that, we got a lot of commentary that we looked either too skinny or more politely being told we looked like we needed a decent feed.
Yeah, I have a friend in Ireland who said, I have a friend in Ireland who said I just needed to have a good feed of potatoes.
So in our age group you can lose too much weight, but the trick is now to not keep putting it back on.
Yeah.
So I think we both need to put a few kilos back on where we were, but it's now trying to stabilise
it.
So doing the training, it's more than just the exercise, it motivates you.
Yes.
You put your running gear back on and go, okay, I don't want to be bigger in this.
And also it's just the feelings of being outside and exercising. It's just that natural way of feeling good. And I think that's what I have missed, because when you're out on the trail and you're walking every day, you've got that natural high of your endorphins. And when you come home, you don't have that anymore, and you do crash a bit. And you have to try and rationalize it, because the reality is we can't walk every day for the rest of our lives for 8, 9, 10 hours. So we've got to find other things to do, and that keep you going, that keep you happy, and so it's a challenge, but we're working it out, aren't we? So
sure are. And Nikki's got her bike packing coming up.
Is it running?
In September. And I'm doing just a quick trip, a short trip to Sydney, coming up in August. But in November I'm back in New Zealand with the family.
Yes, yeah.
In Queenstown, which will be really lovely, and staying at a friend's lovely townhouse there. It'll be a very different experience.
Very different from our
backpacking experience.
Yes.
But going over with the family, as my husband's got a milestone birthday on, so back in New Zealand in November.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Which will be great.
Yes.
For 8 days, so really looking forward to that. And we never walked up Queenstown Hill, because again we're on the move, having to get moving, spent very little time in Queenstown. It was really passing through. So I think there's some other tracks around there.
Oh, I'm sure you'll find some.
Get up Queenstown Hill.
Yeah, and just quickly about the bike packing trip, I actually am going to upload videos for that. It's called the Eurovelo 15, and it's 1,500 kilometers, and it runs from Switzerland all the way to the Netherlands. And I'm doing it with Rob, my husband, and I will upload a video for each day that we're on it. And I hope it's going to be fun. Ooh. It's not my first love, of course. I'd much rather be hiking, but I have enjoyed the few training rides that we've done. So fingers crossed that will be a success. Okay, well, I guess that's bye for now. We'll come back on camera when we think of something else we want to talk about. I was thinking of maybe answering some questions that seem to pop up a bit, and also some tips and tricks while you're on trail. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
We've just had a break. We've been going for about 3 hours, and we're going up and down the Nebo a bit, but we thought while it's relatively flat, we'll have another chat. I wanted to talk about I've been asked a lot about how I edit the movies, how I do it. Basically, I don't edit. All I do is I film, get my camera out and film, and I use a free app called iMovie, and I literally just select all of the videos in order, and that's how I make the movie. I mean, occasionally I might chop a bit out, like if I've put my finger over the lens or something, or if somebody else has done that.
Or left it running like accidentally. It's not like you were deliberately filming.
So I don't over edit it. I know what I film is what I put together, and there's no take two or anything like that. So mistakes and all, it all goes in. And okay, so I wanted to talk about that. Tips. I've got 3 tips. Put everything in your pack in the same spot all the time, because then you know where it is. Because if for any reason you don't put it in the spot that you should, it just takes a long time to find it, and it's really frustrating. So that's my tip. Another one of my tips was hydration. When you come in at night, I tended to have a tea or a soup, and then you hydrate your dehydrated meal. Then I'd have drinking chocolate. In the morning I'd have tea and coffee, and when I brushed my teeth, if the water was filtered, I would try and swallow at least half a cup of water at a time. And it would mean that from the time that I come into camp and until I leave the following morning, I will have consumed at least 1.5 liters, if not 2 liters of water. So that's a tip. I have to think about my other tips. Have you got a tip?
I've got one that comes up a lot, and not just that we've been asked, but also on a lot of the different Facebook sites and things like that, is should I have a personal locator beacon? Do I need to take a personal locator beacon for the TA? And we would say yes. Absolutely. And while we were there, we actually were on hand when 2 rescues happened.
Yeah.
And one used a PLB.
Yep.
The other used what's called the Garmin InReach, which is a satellite communication device, which also has an SOS function.
And we also had one of those each as well.
That was more for messaging, but we had 2 options. The InReach we use for messaging, but it can also be used as a SOS, so satellite service, and the personal locator beacon. So based on what we saw, we would say a definite yes, because for both of those cases it was the only way out for people who had injuries.
Yes. Yep.
So we would say definitely carry that. And the other one's not a tip, but just a question I've been asked a lot since I've come home is, did we go here and visit that and do a lot of the tourist activities? And
fat chance.
Do we actually do some of those extra things, which would have been absolutely lovely to do, but we actually rarely did.
No.
And the reason we found that was we had a lot to do when we got into a day off.
Yes. Yeah.
There
was no sightseeing. That was just getting on with the jobs that you had to do.
Yeah. I went and did the lake and glowworms at Tiano, but that's only because Nikki was held up in the flooded streams.
Yes.
So I had some extra time
couldn't
there.
get the shuttle bus.
So I took myself off, and that was absolutely lovely. But that was some extra time.
Yes.
Where I'd done the jobs and chores. But so we asked a lot. Did you go here? Did you do that? So if you're looking at doing the TA, you'd have to extend your time.
Yes.
If you want to do sightseeing and side trips and things like that.
Yeah. Yep.
The time was quickly gone.
Yes. Yep.
When we had a day off.
We started going uphill now.
Yeah, you can tell.
I've got a tip about blister plasters. Use them for everything. Don't use the other plasters. And the great thing about blister plasters is they stick to any wound and they don't come off. Well, they do eventually, but generally they stick really well, and they provide really good coverage over a wound. It's sealed securely, and with blisters, if you get them, or any sore, I just found them brilliant. I mean, we didn't have problems with blisters, although I must have had a blister at some point, because
you get the hot spot.
You get the hot spot.
So act on that straight away. Like you feel something starting to burn a bit.
Yeah, and the blister plasters provide some padding, and the Compeed are really good too. So that's one of my tips. Do you have any more tips?
No, not for now.
I can't think of anything. We're going uphill.
We're going uphill again.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll check in a bit later. We've done 14.5 kilometres, so we're halfway through. Okay, talk to you later. Bye. Okay, last bit. While we're going downhill, we thought we'd just talk about what Judy and I are planning to do in the future, so together.
So I've done a little bit of homework on the Australian Alps walking track. In Australia, it's shortened to the AAWT. Always got to have a lingo.
Yeah.
And we're still not 100% decided, but we'd like to earmark that, but not till 2026.
Yeah, that's
and
the reality
it's
of it, really.
just under 700 kilometres, but it's got quite tricky logistics because it is up in the Australian Alps. So we may well look to section hike it.
Yeah.
So that, because we're not from those, it's interstate. It starts down in Victoria and it's almost all the way through to Canberra, not quite. It's very sort of is appealing to us because you get a good mix of terrain, including
Yeah,
mountains.
yeah, and it's remote, and yeah.
So it's got some of the things that we like the looks of, but we're still just at that homework stage on it, and to work out how we do it section hiking. And we really have no one down there to support it because I think only once you go near a town, you're trying to do it with food drops and even water drops at times.
But it's good to talk about what the different things we think we might be able to do in 2026, because it always starts with an idea, and then you talk about it. Because we also thought that maybe the overland track in Tasmania, which is a walk that I've done but a long time ago, and last time I did it I didn't do all the side trips, and I'd like to be able to do that. So that's another
and I've
option.
never done that one. It's an iconic track in Tasmania.
Yes,
and you can add side tracks on, even at the end. Instead of getting a boat across the lake, you can hike around it.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple things with some idea marks over them.
little seeds have been sown. Okay, well, I think we're going to say goodbye. Oh, actually, I will just film a little bit of going up Hellhole just
after we get down to it.
After we get down to it. Okay, all right. Bye. We are coming down to the bottom of Hellhole, and then we have to go up the other side. That's Hellhole. We've got to go up there. I'll film when we get across though, because you can't really see how steep it is. That's looking back. We've just crossed the stream, and this is the notorious Hellhole. Up, and it is steep. Okay, this is part of the guzzler. Everyone's favourite bit. We are back at the cars, so I guess this is...
See you next time.
See you next time.